Today on Morning Brew, we're talking about one of the hottest topics on social media, skincare. Now, every day we're bombarded with advice from TikTok and Instagram and influencers and, of course, celebrities, from anti-aging products and elaborate skincare routines to viral beauty hacks. It can all be difficult, though, to know what's actually worth your time and your money. So today on Morning Brew, we are so excited to be separating fact from fiction with dermatology physician assistant Paloma Cigarroa. We're going to be talking about skincare myths, trending products, anti-aging acne, sunscreen, and healthy habits that really make a huge difference. So we're so excited once again to have Paloma with us today on Morning Brew. Paloma, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have you here. I've been such a fan of yours for such a long time. I need you to know that I follow you. You do amazing reels on social media. You're very good about educating the community or viewers on, you know, what's good, what's the latest trend, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us.
Thank
I really
you so much
am.
for having me. I appreciate it.
So before we begin and we dive into all the topics that I want to bring up, talk a little bit about yourself, Paloma. What led you to become a physician assistant, specifically in dermatology?
Yeah, so I think skin is very personal for everybody, and I think we all have had our journeys with skin, but personally, I used to think that Dr. Hudson was my pediatrician from all of the skin problems that I had from a little girl up until teenage years. And I think as a community, we were all so blessed to have Dr. Hudson. And firsthand, I got to see how he really helped me with my confidence. And he was also a big mentor for me while I was going through my educational journey. When I graduated from PA school, I was very interested in cardiology, or dermatology was kind of on my radar, but Dr. Hudson reached out to me, and since that was my first job out of school, and I was so blessed to have learned so much from him. And now I get to do so from Dr. Annabelle Garcia, who's a Laredo native as well. And it's just been so worthwhile and amazing to be able to serve this community that I love so much.
So Dr. Hudson, he was pretty much Laredo's first dermatologist. He was here for many years, recently passed away a couple of years ago or so. And you carried on the torch with him. You joined another dermatology group who came to Laredo to open up a branch here. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but you did get a chance, and you were very blessed to, when you came back from school, from PA school, you were blessed to spend a few years with Dr. Hudson.
Absolutely, yes. Those were 3 incredible years of learning and growing, and more than anything, falling in love with this specialty and with this community.
So tell me a little bit about why you love it so much. We all have skin, and I know
Yes.
that. We all know that, and we all want it to be beautiful. But what was it about dermatology?
I feel like because the skin is so personal, like it's a very vulnerable position to be in, to go to somebody and talk about the things that that make them sometimes feel maybe insecure, or things that they want to work on. And so it is truly like a badge of honor for me to be able to be a person that can help somebody with something that, you know, they may be struggling with. And every day I get to see patients as young as days old. Like, I've had patients that are newborns up until patients that are over 100 years old. So while obviously I get to educate them, I learn so much from my patients as well. And it's very, you know, rewarding to be able to see people through their journeys. And doing this now for over 6 years, I've had some patients that I've been with for over 6 years, and I've gotten to see them grow and build confidence.
You know, and on that note, Paloma, what is it that as a dermatology provider, what is it that makes you feel positive about the things that you see now? Social media is so huge now, and
Yes.
health products are so huge. What are some of the things that are positive about that? And then what are some of the things that make you nervous about that?
I mean, we live in a world now of immediate information, which I love. And I tell my patients, like, you guys are your greatest advocates, and I encourage patients, sometimes they're like, I'm sorry, I have so many questions. I say, no, ask away. I know that we are living in an age where there is so much information available to us, and I welcome that. I think that's great. I think that's why I have my social media page, so that I can contribute to that education. But one thing about skin is that it's incredibly personalized. So, with any topic on the internet or on social media, we just, as consumers, have to learn how to be very discerning about where we get our information, whether that's from somebody who may be advertising something, or a board-certified dermatologist, or looking for somebody that may have an experience similar to yours. But definitely with skincare, it's very individualized per person.
What are some of the myths that you've seen on social media that just kind of make you cringe and you're like, oh no, I would never have said that, or that's just not right? Is there one particular thing or a couple of things that stand out?
I think a couple, but one thing is definitely like these 12-step grandiose skincare regimens that I don't think is necessary, and I think viewers can sometimes watch that and think that they are missing out on something when that's not necessarily the case. Less is more sometimes. And then obviously trends come and go. I've seen people get pretty intense reactions and tell their viewers like, oh, if it burns, it's working, and that makes me cringe. I'm like, no, for something to work, we have to be consistent. You don't have to have this purge or this reaction first. I've seen Vaseline slugging, which again can be okay for some skin types, but for the most part can be comedogenic or clog pores. So, it's important to remember that trends are not for everybody.
Okay, that's very good advice, because you do see a lot of that, and you see the 12-step process.
Yes.
And it just makes you think, oh my gosh, I don't even have time to do 3 steps,
Exactly.
much less 12 steps.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to look as beautiful as them because I just don't have the time.
Exactly.
So,
and I think that's one thing that I always want to empower my patients, and education and social media can do that, but in some cases I don't ever want a patient to feel like there's something that's unachievable, because good skin is achievable by everybody. Sometimes it just takes some guidance.
Okay, well, speaking of guidance, I want this podcast to be very engaging.
Yes.
And, this is an opportunity for us to really take a deep dive and ask you some questions about some of these trends that we see on social media. So we developed this little game that's called Worth It,
Okay.
Wasted,
Love.
or It Depends.
Okay,
so
cool.
I'm going to give these to you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to start off by asking, these are some items that my colleagues here at the station wanted me to ask you about.
I
Things
love that. So
they-
we got a real life
We have
sort of
real life,
poll.
yes.
Okay.
Things that they've seen, things that they've heard, and things that they just want your expert advice on.
Okay.
So we're going to start off with, and some of these, honestly, Paloma, I've never even heard of some of these. And I think you might, I don't know if you mentioned one of these just a little bit ago, snail mucin?
Mucin. Yes.
Snail mucin. Okay, I don't know if you want to tell us what snail mucin is, and then you can go into worth it, wasted, or it depends.
Yeah, so snail mucin is part of the Korean skincare hype. I'm gonna say it depends for this. It's not that I don't like it. I think it's a great hydrator. It mimics peptides and hyaluronic acid. Just in the US, we don't have a lot of evidence-based data for it yet. But that's not to say that it's not a good hydrator. So I do like it, yes.
Okay, so it depends.
Yes.
Okay, beef tallow. I thought was a food.
Yes, I
but-
know.
Okay.
I think the sound of it is like kind of cringe.
Yeah.
So beef tallow is very new. It's like a very, as it sounds, sort of a peptide fatty rich substance that's good for very, very like dry skin. I definitely wouldn't recommend it for acne patients. Again, I don't dislike it, but I think there are a lot of better hydrators out there. So I'm
Okay.
going to go with Wasted. Sorry if
Okay.
anyone is a fan.
okay,
but
it's
also
okay.
not evidence-based.
Okay, perfect. Pimple patches. I see those all the
Oh, yeah.
time. Yeah.
I just love this new generation because they are like Gen Z. They are like wearing their pimple patches, and I'm gonna say worth it because they are basically what we call hydrocolloid patches, which essentially are going to extract the pimple contents for you without the trauma of actually popping it yourself and leading to scarring. So worth it.
Worth it. And I've seen little stars. I've seen
Yes,
all kinds of.
they're so cute now.
Yeah, nobody has a problem wearing them out in public.
Yeah, I
think
wish
that's
that was the case when I was in my awkward teenage years.
Yeah,
we were just
me
like
too.
pounding it with foundation and making it worse.
Yep, me too. I was there with you. Okay, gua sha.
Gua sha, I'm gonna say it depends. I think, it's good for people that retain a lot of water, or after a night out, or if you've had a very salty meal. It's basically lymphatic drainage. I don't think this is something you need to be doing daily. It's just, if you have the time for it, great, but it's not really a necessary part of your skincare routine.
Okay, perfect. Ice rollers.
Okay, that I'm gonna say wasted, just because ice can be, any extreme can be a little bit irritating, and we can actually get some ice burns. So, and I've actually seen this in clinic. So, I think cool compresses are good for reducing inflammation, but ice rollers can potentially do more harm than good.
Okay, perfect. This next one's a big one because we've seen it in a lot of places and they could tend to be very expensive. So, LED face masks.
If you are very consistent with it, and if you do not suffer from a skin condition called melasma, I'm gonna say worth it.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
But it does have those caveats. Red light therapy can be, very good at regenerating the skin, but it is a very slow and steady process. So again, I'm thinking this is for somebody that doesn't have toddlers and has the time to be doing this 20 minutes every night for 6 months. That's really when you'll see a result.
Wow. And is LED the same as the red light?
Yes.
It's okay.
I
Same
think
thing.
There's different bulb sizes, but they can be interchangeable terms.
Okay. This one's easy. Silk pillowcases. This is for the hair and for your skin too.
I'm going to say worth it. You can find some really affordable ones out there. They help your skincare. Yeah. Your skincare, you don't really lose your skincare to a cotton pillow as much as you do to a silk. So you get to keep that on your skin. It's very gentle both on your skin and your hair. So I'm going to say worth it.
Okay, perfect. What about collagen supplements?
This has had more research, and I'm going to say worth it.
Okay.
There was a time when the evidence was showing that if you had a protein-rich diet, you didn't necessarily need collagen supplements because your body couldn't really differentiate the difference between the two peptides. But now we are finding that, again, consistency is key. But if you are consistent with them, it can help regenerate and help with joint issues as well as skin issues.
Okay, well that does it for the worth it, and this was great. Thank you so much.
I will say one thing about supplements is you always want to read your labels, because if they contain biotin or whey, because obviously sometimes it's not just collagen, that can sometimes contribute to acne production. So again, it just comes down to being discerning.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we have so much more that we want to get into. I know that we've got to talk about some of the ingredients that we hear all the time. We want to talk a little bit about the hyaluronic acid and, of course, the retinol, vitamin C, and all that. And then we have another question for you, but we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Paloma Cigarroa. We're talking all about skincare. Stay with us.
Why pay a monthly fee? Free checking at IBC.
Organic Man Coffee Track, Laredo's first and only coffee air roastery. For over 10 years, we've crafted bold, smooth flavors from around the world, committed to your health by exclusively using organic ingredients. Organic Man Coffee Track. Travel the world, one coffee at a time.
Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Morning Brew. I'm Mindy Casso, and today we are so excited to have with us Paloma Cigarroa. She is such a good friend, and she is an expert when it comes to skincare. She's a physician assistant in dermatology, and we're blessed to have her with us. She is answering all the questions that have been burning into our skin, wanting to get the truth and also bust the myths. So with that, Paloma, thank you for sticking around. Excited to have you with with us. So before the commercial break, we were playing the game of worth it, wasted, or it depends. So we're going to get into a little true and false in just a little bit. But before we do, Paloma, there was a couple of ingredients that are mentioned all the time that we wanted to kind of dive into a little bit, just to see once again what your opinions are on that. So we're going to start with retinol. Of course, we see that everywhere. Is it truly the best when it comes to anti-aging?
It is, Mindy. It is the holy grail. It is the most evidence-based. It has literally, we have pathology findings where we take pieces of skin and we find that over time, it can build significant amounts of collagen. We also have identical twin studies where we can see how one twin aged versus the other with using retinol alone. So yes, it is worth it. And to summarize what it does, because I know it's kind of a buzzword out there, essentially what it does is it increases cell turnover. And what that means is basically we get new skin every 21 to 28 days, and retinol can speed up that process to where we can be getting more youthful skin. And then it also helps create collagen and elastin. Collagen is what helps our skin have some volume, and elastin is what helps hold our skin tight. So it does all three of those things, and it is the holy grail for not only anti-aging, but it also helps a lot with acne.
Okay.
And melasma.
And it is a topical.
Yes.
And I would imagine you've got to do it consistently.
Exactly.
Okay, all about consistency. We learned that from you
Yes.
before the commercial break. Vitamin C, we hear a lot about how that just, makes you shine and glow.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes, I love vitamin C. It's basically what it is it's an antioxidant. And when you go about your day and you are exposed to sun or environmental damage, all of that creates a process in our cells called oxidation. And oxidation is not a good thing because it breaks down our cells. And if you have vitamin C, it helps prevent that oxidation process. So it helps keep your cells intact. It helps protect you from the sun. And then it also has the benefit in that it helps increase brightness, and it helps with dull skin texture and dark spots.
Now, I know they sell vitamin C as a topical, and of course you can take vitamin C. Do they both work the same, or are they different?
Not necessarily. The oral supplement works great on the immune system, and at, I guess, high doses of an antioxidant. There's one called HelioCare, which is specifically for a supplement for sun damage, but topically it's a little bit different. It doesn't really have those immune properties. It's just more lightening, brightening, and anti-aging. You do want to find it with a percentage between 10 and 20%.
Okay, so good to know.
Yes.
Just because you're taking a vitamin C vitamin doesn't mean that you're going to get the same benefits if you use the topical. I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Niacinamide.
Okay. Yes. Niacinamide I describe kind of like our jack of all trades. It does a lot of stuff really well, but it's not really like a one shot ingredient. It's going to help improve your skin barrier. It's going to help reduce inflammation. It's going to help hydrate your skin. So it's a great addition. I wouldn't say that it needs to be a part of your daily regimen with the basics, but if you're looking to build your skincare regimen, I think niacinamide is a great ingredient.
Okay, and that goes along with the hyaluronic acid.
Yes, hyaluronic acid.
You find that everywhere.
Yes, that's a big buzzword. So I kind of have a little bit of a hot take on hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is a very large molecule, and it's a molecule that attracts a lot of water. It is an excellent hydrator. It is excellent at helping temporarily, emphasis on the word temporarily, reduce fine lines and wrinkles, but it does not do very much for you long term the way retinol does. So the way I like to use hyaluronic acid is to put it into your morning regimen to temporarily hydrate the skin. The molecule is not large enough to get into the dermis and do long-term changes, but it can work on the epidermis to help with fine lines and wrinkles for a short time.
Okay, good to know. And the last one I have here on the list, of course, is a big one, peptides.
Peptides, yes. I'm a fan of peptides. I think that they're great hydrators. And one of the main things with healthy skin is having a good skin barrier, and peptides are a part of that. If you're using retinols, then it's great to find a moisturizer with peptides as well.
Okay, so peptides is a good thing.
Yes.
Okay,
You nailed all the big ones.
Hey, I've got a whole team here that they've been waiting and counting the days for you to come in here. So it was a team effort. Okay, this was a really great question that we got for you. If someone only had enough money to buy 3 skincare products, what would you recommend?
Sunscreen, retinol, moisturizer.
Okay. Well, moisturizer is very general. Should there be certain products or ingredients in that moisturizer?
Yes, ceramides and peptides. And the reason why I choose moisturizer is because I love retinols, but retinols can be a little bit irritating. So it comes hand in hand with a moisturizer.
Okay, so those together. Yes. Is it best to do skincare in the morning or at night?
So your morning skincare is defense and your evening skincare is repair and build. So ideally both. If I had to pick one, I guess morning, so that we can defend against environmental damage throughout the day.
Oh, wow. Okay. But
I don't know though, but obviously you have to wash off all your debris at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both great. But yeah, I think about it like defense in the morning and rebuild at night.
Okay, perfect. Well, talking about skincare, let's talk a little bit about sunscreen. You're a huge advocate, of course, on sunscreen.
Yes.
Tell us about, do we need to be wearing this every day, especially if we're indoors? I'm indoors all the time. I mean,
Yes.
I live here at the station just about. So do I need a sunscreen if we're office people?
That's a great question, Mindy. And, you know, I'm going to say yes, not because obviously you don't get a lot of exposure while you're indoors, but we get incidental exposure throughout the day, coming in and out of our cars, driving, doing errands, sitting by windows, and all of that over time. Like when we are talking daily exposures to this, it can build, and we want to just protect from all those incidental exposures.
Okay, so something throughout the day, of course, but now if you are a person that does spend a lot of time outdoors, you're an athlete or you work outdoors, what should they be doing? How much protection do they really need?
So if you are spending a lot of time outdoors, I usually recommend reapplying every hour if you're in direct sun between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. If it's just someone going about their day and then going to practice at 5 p.m., I say, wear your morning sunscreen and then reapply before that exposure in the evening.
Okay, so, I've always wondered, if you are putting sunscreen on in the morning, how does that go with your morning routine and makeup? It seems like we're just lathering our face and everything with so much stuff. So how do you balance all of that?
That's a great question. Your sunscreen should be the last step in your morning regimen. And your morning regimen does not have to be this long thing. It could literally be just as simple as washing your face and wearing sunscreen, maybe adding a vitamin C in the middle. 3 steps, and that's great.
Under the foundation.
Under the foundation.
Okay.
So it's the last step of the routine, and then once you're done with your skincare regimen, then you can apply your makeup.
Okay, so let's talk about the skincare regimen, because in the very beginning, you talked about, not needing that 12-step that we see on social media all the time. What is a good skincare regimen in the morning and at night?
Great question. So in the morning, it's washing your face, applying a vitamin C antioxidant serum, option to moisturize if you run dry, and sunscreen. That's your bread and butter.
Okay. For women, that's all before your makeup, of course.
Exactly.
Okay.
And ideally, we get to our skin to a point where it's so healthy that we don't necessarily need to be applying that much makeup. I'm a big fan of just using a very lightweight, tinted moisturizer, if you will, that has some SPF in it, but it's not your actual sunscreen. And putting on light makeup for the day. And then in the evening, again, your skincare regimen can be very simple. If you wear heavy makeup, we want to first remove that with micellar water and then wash our face with a cleanser of your choice. and then apply a gentle retinol serum and a moisturizer.
Retinol should go at nighttime.
Exactly.
Okay, because that would be part of your repair overnight.
Exactly.
Okay, well that's really easy to do, and it's easy
Yeah.
to remember and not have your counter cluttered with so many bottles that you don't know what to do.
Yes, exactly.
You know, speaking of counter cluttered, you know, I see the rollers for underneath your eyes. I see what are those little flat things that are kind of shaped like a heart?
Yeah, those are the gua sha. Yes.
Right. So all of that, I know we talked about the gua sha. The rollers, does that help with the bags under your eyes?
It can, because that can be, I mean, obviously there's a genetic component that we can't always fight, but if you, in the morning when we wake up, that's might be when we're holding on to the most fluid, and because we've been kind of on a horizontal position all night. So in the morning, you know, doing a little bit of very gentle gua sha can help drain some of those lymphatics and get you fresh for the day. I will say that is a very luxurious step I don't have the privilege of time of doing in the morning, but you know, go for it if that's something that works for you.
Yeah, well, I see that all the time, and I wonder, and I'm with you, we're always on such a tight deadline that,
Yes.
you know, one more thing added to the morning can just really blow your whole schedule.
Yes.
So, no, I totally hear you. But you do see them on social media, and you do wonder,
Yeah.
you know. But we're going to take a quick break right here. When we come back, we're going to play a true or false game with Paloma. We're going to ask her a couple of more questions that we hear about all the time. So don't go anywhere. Morning Brew is just a sip away.
Man Coffee Track, Laredo's first and only coffee air roastery. For over 10 years, we've crafted bold, smooth flavors from around the world, committed to your health by exclusively using organic ingredients. Organic Man Coffee Track. Travel the world, one coffee at a time.
Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Morning Brew. It's actually one of my favorite episodes because we're talking about skincare, and we're talking about it with a really good friend and someone I admire very, very much, Paloma Cigarroa. She is a physician assistant who specialized in dermatology. She came back home after school, and she is treating a whole lot of us for our skin care. So Paloma, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. You stuck
Mindy.
around with us.
Yes,
we're going to play
happy to be
another
here.
game. We had our wasted, worth it, and it depends game. Now we're playing true or false.
Okay.
So I'm going to give these to you.
Yes.
And once again, I polled the station folks here, and these are all questions from them. So we're going to get started with one that takes us back to maybe our high school, maybe our college years, Paloma.
Okay.
Sleeping in your makeup ages your skin.
Absolutely, don't do it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that sort of build up, you know, it's not good. You know, every once in a while you can get away with a night or two, but not all the time.
Yeah, you got to clean the pores out.
Yes,
and get
exactly.
that makeup off your skin.
Yes.
Okay, next one. Chocolate causes acne.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is like a little bit of both because
Okay.
it's actually not the cacao itself. Cacao or chocolate is a very potent antioxidant, so it's healthy, but the way that we have consumed it is with high sugar and high dairy. And so the dairy and the sugar that are added to it can trigger acne, but it's not necessarily the cacao and the chocolate itself.
Okay.
So, you know, enjoy a high percentage dark chocolate every now and then. But yes, it can.
Okay. Darn. Okay. I don't think we all wanted to hear that, but
I know, sorry to be the
okay.
bearer of bad news.
Okay, but every now and then.
Yes,
it's
of
all in
course.
proportion.
And everything in moderation.
Okay. What about this next one? Expensive skincare works better.
False. You know, I think some of the expensive especially medical grade skincare, has the price tag because it has a lot of research behind it, but that doesn't always mean it's better. There's a lot of really great options, over the counter, affordable options. I love La Roche-Posay and I love CeraVe.
Okay,
Yeah.
good to know. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Okay, next one. Natural products are always safer.
False. Not necessarily always the case. I mean, like, the poison ivy is natural, you know, and it's not good for your skin. So I'm gonna have to say false. There's really great natural stuff out there, but it doesn't necessarily, it's not the better option all the time.
Okay, perfect. You can shrink your pores.
Unfortunately, false.
Oh.
You can't shrink your pores, those are genetic, but you can improve the appearance of your pores by using products that are going to help clean the pores out. We love beta hydroxy acids, known as salicylic acid, for this, alpha hydroxy acids like glycolic acid, and retinols. And if you're consistent in a skincare regimen guided by your dermatologist, because overuse can impair your skin barrier, we can get your pores to a point where you can be really happy, and we can combine that with procedures that can strengthen the skin around your pores so that it doesn't look so obvious.
Okay, that is good to know. And I like what you said right now about being under the care of a dermatologist, because you're absolutely right. When you go into a store, you want to buy everything, you see everything, you fall for the marketing.
Yes.
But sometimes too much is too much, and it could have the opposite effect.
Exactly.
Okay, next one. People with oily skin don't need moisturizer.
False. I think obviously there's a difference between oily skin and dehydrated skin. So you can have oily skin and be dehydrated. And so you always want to complement that with a lightweight, a non-comedogenic moisturizer to keep your skin barrier healthy.
Okay, this is the last one we have for this segment, and it's drinking more water cures dry skin, or is better for your skin.
I mean, a little both, yes. I think drinking water is very good to kind of keep your skin healthy, hydrated, blood flow, but it also goes back to that, like, the difference between dehydrated and hydrated skin. Unfortunately, dry skin is more of a skin barrier issue, not necessarily always an internal issue. So you want to repair that skin barrier by giving your skin the food it needs with moisturizers in addition to drinking water.
Okay, good to know. Well, we have a question that was asked, and so it's not true or false. You did fantastic.
Oh, thank you
so much. This was great. But I want to move on to this particular question, and then we're going to start talking a little bit more about skin cancers and even hair loss. Really important there. But the question is, if you could walk into someone's bathroom and throw away just one skin product, what would it be and why? Something that you see that you just look at it and you're like, no.
That's a good question. I'm gonna say, like, those harsh, like the classic, like, St. Ives apricot scrub with the beads and the perfume and, like, that fragrance. We're gonna leave that in 2003. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say everybody has that, but I do see a lot of that.
You know what else I've heard, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. Recently heard that makeup wipes are not good for you, and everybody should be turning to little cloths, those little Miracle soft cloths, as opposed to those makeup wipey towelettes.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think where that comes from is that those makeup towelettes have high alcohol content, and that can dry out your skin.
Okay.
So that's why we don't recommend those. And then the sort of more gentle, cleaner ones, I love micellar water. You could put a little bit of that, and that's good to clean your skin without stripping the barrier with some of the alcohol that's found in the wipes.
You know, I made that change about a year and a half ago, and took away the wipes, and with the micellar water, putting it on those little makeup, those Miracle little towels, and they're so soft with the micellar water on them. They take everything off perfectly.
They do.
Yeah.
They do, without stripping your barrier.
Yeah,
So
and then you
I'm
just
a big fan.
you throw the little towels in your washing machine, and they come out ready to use. So environmentally, it's great and
sustainable.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Well, thank you for that. Okay, well, we want to talk, we want to get into something a little bit more serious. Not that this is not has been serious, this has been great, but really want to talk to you about skin cancer because
Yes.
here in Laredo, of course, our temperatures and our sun are pretty hot. And I know you're a very big proponent on or advocate for protecting yourself from skin cancer. So let's talk a little bit about skin and what are some of the signs that we should be looking out for? The moles, you know, sometimes you see a mole and you panic, but
Absolutely.
which is the ones that should be red flagging?
Of course. So it's very important to check your moles because moles can develop into the most aggressive type of skin cancer, otherwise known as melanoma. And I tell my patients your skin is your largest organ and it's the only organ that we can visually see. So we should really use that to our advantage and keep an eye on them. The red flags or warning signs for moles, the first one is anything that is evolving or changing. So if you ever come in to have a skin check with me, other than obviously looking at all of your moles, what's very important to me is to take pictures of everything so that we can have a point of reference and be comparing those so that if anything ever grows or changes, we're looking at that. Other than that, we want to follow the ABCs. A for asymmetry. If there's a mole that's not symmetrical, we want to get that looked at. B for border. You want to have a nice regular, not irregular border. C is for color. Your mole should be all one color, either all red, all brown. If it's different colors, you want to get that looked at. And D stands for diameter. Anything larger than an eraser pencil, you want to get looked at. Wow. That is for the most aggressive type of skin cancer known as melanoma. There are other skin cancers known as basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. The warning signs for that are the pimple that never heals and it consistently bleeds and it grows very slowly. You want to get that looked at for potentially a basal cell. And the second one is the squamous cell carcinoma. That's going to be a rough little patch that never moisturizes despite how much moisturizer you're putting on it.
It just always feels
Yes.
dry and
Yes.
rough. Okay, so different moles to look at, and I guess the most important thing is catching it early.
Exactly,
The earlier
Mindy.
the better.
Yes.
And I think fear causes you to not want to look at it or just kind of put it off and put it off.
Yeah.
But you know, even if you feel like you can't be the best decision maker when it comes to a mole, go to somebody.
Yes,
Get
and that's
somebody
where,
to
you
look
know, I
at
tell
it.
them, as long as you're coming once a year and we're documenting everything, like you're going to be okay. We just want to make sure that we are doing that at least yearly so we could be keeping an eye on it for you and you can just have that peace of mind.
Okay, and if there is a cancerous mole, God forbid, but if there is, what are the treatment options for that?
Great question. So it really comes down to the depth of the mole. So depending on how aggressive it is and how deep it is, you know, in most cases, I would say almost like 95% of melanomas that I catch early, we do what's called a wide local excision, which pretty much looks like, I'm going to use Dr. Hudson's words here, a shark bite, where we take a big piece out because we don't want that to get more aggressive, and then you're left with a scar, a warrior scar, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah. I've had very small amounts of cases where we have to do that in addition to potentially getting a lymph node biopsy and getting additional care with oncology.
Okay, so I mean, there's a lot of positive treatments out there.
Exactly.
So, but once again, the key is to catch it early.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, we're moving from skin cancer, we're moving to something else that bothers a lot of folks, and that's acne.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about acne for all of our young viewers out there that struggle with it, and then, you know, older people that sometimes will break out
Absolutely.
maybe because of stress. So, you know, let's talk a little bit about that. What is there hope out there?
Of course. And I always like to tell my patients, like, first of all, your skin does not define who you are, but I know it can really affect how we feel and how we interact with other people. So I thank my patients for coming in so that we can get it treated because, you know, it's very treatable. And I also like to tell my patients, for the most part, it's nothing that you're doing wrong. A lot of the times we can just have a very strong gene for making acne. The way some people have oily skin or some people have dry skin, you can just be blessed with acne-prone skin. And I do tell my patients, if you're acne-prone, you, for the most part, will age better because oily skin ages a little better than dry skin, so that's a plus. But yes, it's very treatable, whether that's in your teenage years or whether it's adult female hormonal acne, or, you know, I get a lot of patients that are adults and they think they have acne when it's actually rosacea. So all very treatable.
And speaking of rosacea, also very treatable too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and for the most part, you know, with consistency and a good prescription topicals, we can get it under control. But I always like to ask my patients a lot of questions so that I can find out what the root cause is.
Right.
And that's really where we can have the most results, because at the end of the day, our skin is a window to our overall health, and it is telling us something about what's going on internally.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're almost running out of time.
Okay.
I know, I can't believe, but I don't want to leave you, or I don't want you to leave us unless we talk a little bit about hair loss.
Yes.
There's so much talk about that right now. Of course, GLP drugs is not helping with that situation. What can you tell us about hair loss, and is there anything that folks can do?
Absolutely. I mean, hair loss is so multi-dimensional.
I think we have to have a whole podcast on just hair loss.
There's a lot of different things that cause hair loss, but like you said, I think the most common causes of hair loss that I see are a type of hair loss called telogen effluvium, which is the GLP-1 related hair loss, also known as the postpartum hair loss. It's after your body goes through a stressful event, whether that is a change in diet or, you know, anything that is emotionally or physically stressful. You can experience shedding. Now there's also androgenetic alopecia, which, as the name suggests, is just genetic type hair loss we get a little bit more of as we get wiser. We can treat all of this with prescription topical medications, oral medications. There's even procedures like PRP. It's all very treatable, and we just want to identify the root cause of it. And I always encourage my patients to get blood work done as well, so we can rule out underlying causes like anemia or thyroid disorders or vitamin deficiencies that can be playing a role in the hair loss.
What about speaking of vitamins, you know, you see the biotin and there's a lot of different strengths, and does that work? The supplements? Because I've heard both, yes and no.
You know, I don't think biotin does very well for hair growth, but I do think that there are some good supplements out there. There's a supplement called Nutrafol, which has a lot of great evidence-based studies in conjunction with dermatologists that have a combination of nutrient-based ingredients like saw palmetto, turmeric, and things that can help target some of the forms of hair loss caused by telogen effluvium. So, you know, I do like some, like Nutrafol. I'm not a big fan of biotin for hair loss.
For hair loss, but I know it works with skin and nails and things like that. So maybe more for that than the hair. Parting words. I know we talked a lot about so much, but if you needed to leave our viewers with just, you know, one piece of advice, what would that be?
Consistency, you know, start a simple but good skincare regimen. Make sure you're wearing your sunscreen in the morning and you're washing your face at night, and over time you will thank yourself. I think there's a time when, you know, we don't really think too much about our skin, but then when we do, it's a little bit too late. We just want to start taking care of our skin early.
And throughout the ages, Paloma, there is hope. You don't have to start, I mean, if you didn't start in your 20s, like the majority of us did not, is there still hope for those in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's never too late. And again, I think if you're consistent with anything, you will see results over time. I'm a big fan. I tell my patients, it's what you do daily that makes a difference long term.
Okay, perfect. Love those parting words. Thank you so much, Paloma. It's been very, very educational and such a pleasure having you with us.
Thank
and like
you
I
so
said,
much
I'm
for
a big
having
fan
me.
of yours, and I appreciate
right
all
back
the
at you.
knowledge. Thank you, all the knowledge you've gave to our viewers. It's you know, it's important, and we appreciate having you with us.
Oh, thank you. I had a good time. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, well, you've got to come back because we have a lot more that we want to talk about.
Yes.
So it's an open invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paloma. And that does it for this episode of Morning Brew. Make sure to tune in next time. We're going to talk a lot more about trending items and things that are important to you. So with that, we thank Paloma Cigarroa for being with us today. And if you want to follow her, you can do so on her social media pages. She does a whole lot of reels with a lot of educational items dealing with skin health care. That does it for us. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy the brew.